I know that my listeners wonder, there's a lot of questions around making money on the road, affording being on the road. We hear questions like, is it less expensive being on the road? I know I throw a lot at you, but however, can you just kind of what are your thoughts? Would you say to the listeners about, living on the road and having money?
So it's probably also different for us because Shane, retired so early because he was in the Air Force. So we did have, and that was really a big part of us going full time. So, as young as we did, or when we did, because he did have a retirement coming in. At the time, I was working a government job, and I had been working from home for a while because of COVID and everything. And I tried to continue that with that job working from the road. And they were like, sorry, we're not, we're not going to allow you to travel and have the job. So I was like, okay, well, then here's my 2 weeks because I want to travel. So we just had to figure it out. Like, because obviously we can't, like, we could live just stationary off of his military retirement, but we couldn't travel and do all the things that we do. So I just had to figure out a way, and I done several like social media, like ran social media for different companies. I just started doing that, and because of our social media, it just started growing so quick, and kind of blowing up over the last several years. And then companies started reaching out to us and was like, hey, we want you to show our product. We want you to, come see our campground, whatever it might be. And that's really how we started our social media business. Last year, we did opened an LLC. And so now it's a full-time business for us. Not saying that it could, that might not work for everyone, but there are ways to figure it out. There are work from home jobs. There are ways there's work camping. We do that as well to help supplement our income. Right now, we just come back to Texas and we'll work camp for several months at the same campground, kind of sit and relax for a little bit, recoup, save up a little bit of money. And then now we're hitting the road for the summer. We kind of stayed here because we were gone to Alaska all last summer, stayed here all winter, and kind of saved back up, and now we're ready to hit the road again. So there are ways to do it for sure. Also, like you were saying, like, is it more expensive? Is it less expensive? It can be both. It just all depends on how you want to do it. If you want to travel often and to all these different places, and you like staying in a 5-star RV resort with all the amenities, then yeah, it's probably going to cost you more than it did to live in your house, depending on, what your house was like before. For us, we've made it, less than what it costs us to live in our house. I mean, most of our fees and everything that we pay monthly is probably less than our mortgage was.
Also, I mean, you can choose to eat at home or go out to eat every night. And
Yeah.
it gets expensive if you do that. I mean, you just have to do
Mhm.
what fits in your budget or your well-beings.
Yeah. Just like if you were in a house, like you just figure out a budget and
Right.
yeah, figure out a way to be able to do it.
I agree with you. It depends on what kind of house you were in, what you were paying, what kind of RV travel you're going to do. There is no set answer. I know I gave you the question, but
Mhm.
people ask all the time, what's less expensive? It
Right.
so depends. Totally
Right.
depends. Every situation's different.
Right.
When it comes to making money, again, there are two sides to it. How am I going to live while I'm on the road? If I'm going out to eat all the time and I'm going to 5-star RV resorts, that's going to get expensive, and it's a balance in budgeting it. And I think that different things work for different people. How's that going to work for you? You talked about work camping. That's what it's called, right? Work
Mhm. Yeah.
camping. Okay.
Yeah.
And there's a site for that people could
Hmm.
check out. It's a way to, and I'm going to let you guys talk on it. Why don't we talk about that work camping and what exactly that is for people who aren't familiar?
So work camping is where you work at a position. It could be a campground. It's not necessarily a campground. That, you know, we have found out originally we thought it was just at campgrounds. We had seen like camp hosts at state parks, things like that. But you can, there's lots of places that you can do work camping, but you're essentially you're working for your campsite, or you're working while you're living in your camper. So what we have done so far is we've only worked at campgrounds. So we will go to the campground. We find them online. There's lots of websites that offer and show these. There's also Facebook groups that you can find work camp positions. Also, the campgrounds put them out there on their social media, where you can find work camp positions. But you're working at the campground and doing, you know, you could be a camp host. You could be, I've worked in the office. I've done websites. I've done social media. I've done events.
Mainly mine is like doing like the small maintenance. I take care of swimming pools. Just depends on where we're at, what there is to do. I mean, usually it's for a couple, it's around 28 hours a week at the most of them. So, I mean, it's not like you're working all week long or what have you, 8 hours a day. It's not like a regular
9 to 5.
civilian job or whatever. It's not hard, and you can either some of them even will give you your site and they will pay you, but it just depends on which one you get, and there's a lot of them out there.
Yeah. Most of them you can get your site and then your utilities if you're a couple. And then if you're single, they also have like for single people as well, work camp positions. You might either only get the site, or maybe you have to work, you know, a little bit more hours or something than we would as a couple. But yeah, it covers your campsite, it covers your utilities. We get free ice. We had one that we got free meals. So, and then there's, like Shane was saying, some of them will also pay you as well, some campgrounds. And then there's like firework stands, Christmas tree farms, the beet harvest. And some of those will, so they're just paying for your campsite for you to stay near where you're working. And then they also pay you a salary as well. So there's just, I mean, so many ways that you can work camp. But for us, we just want to work camp at a campground. So far, that's what we've done.
But also, if it's something that you're thinking about getting into, you got to remember most of them are at least like 3-month commitment or a 6-month commitment or something like that. Yeah, depending on what about the campground. It's not like you can go in and work camp for the weekend and then take off. You got to be there for a little bit. You got to commit to it.
And then that leads into, and again, the whole point here is to say to the listeners that yes, there are ways to make money on the road. I know traveling, there are some people on the road that have a pension or retirement or savings, and they're just, you know, sitting back and living the life, and that's fine. I think I personally would get bored with that. That's just me. So
Same.
there's different ways when you're looking at somebody and you're thinking, oh, wow, how are they doing this? The point here is there are a lot of different ways